I'm Tangles. This is my garage, and this is my car. Yo, good morning. Welcome back to my garage. I can't remember what the last thing I filmed was, just at the moment. I haven't looked at the videos for ages. I haven't uploaded any of it yet, just to give you an idea of the timing and time scale. So I have made, you know, a heap of sort of little episodes up, ready to upload, but I don't want to stick them up and then, you know, be waiting 3 months before the next one sort of thing. I just get a bit of a backlog and then put them up every couple of weeks, and then see whether or not I want to keep doing it after I've done that. This stuff's still in the car from last weekend. Last weekend was the Jap Nats at Queensland Raceway, which I entered as a driver in the sprint, the time attack. So the last remnants of stuff that was still in the car, my lunchbox, my time attack hoodie, my jack, and oh, what's this? What's this? What have we got here? We've got a trophy. Second in Turbo Street class. Now, I technically probably don't qualify for it because I've got an external wastegate, but I was the only guy there on street tyres and no aero. So I think the guy took pity on me in the classing and dropped me back one to make it a fairer day. I wasn't there for trophies or to compete for that sort of thing. I was literally just there to see what the car would do around QR. Obviously it did okay. The guy behind me was on semi-slicks and had a much better car, so wow. Yeah, so I did alright, and maybe, I don't know how much of it was the car and how much of it was me. Mate in a 450 horsepower 32 Skyline, reckon I was the hardest dude to pass in a straight line. We were running in the same group, so you know, he was much faster than me, but when he come up behind me on the straight, apparently, yeah, the most difficult car to get by. You know, I wasn't defending or anything like that. He just, you know, it just took him a long time to get past me on the straight, which was surprising because this only has 320 horsepower. So, you know, we're not pretending about massive numbers here. It's just, you know, it's more than factory, but it's not heaps. So it was a good day in general. However, there were some negatives to the day. The brakes, which I had been assured would be a problem, were a problem. They were a massive problem. They failed miserably at stopping the car for pretty much the second run onwards. I cooked them, and then I boiled the fluid. The pads that I started with are here. So, I don't know if you can see the coloration there. Pretty colours. So that's the pads that were in it at the start of the day. The light sort of stuff around the outside is where the pad is just disintegrated, fractured and fallen away. And if you can see, depending on the light, the whole pad, all the braking material is actually fractured due to heat shock. I imagine, you know, from going hot, cold, extremely hot to not cold, but from cold to extremely hot very quickly, I suppose has done it, and yeah, it's sort of just disintegrating. So yeah, and I ran on that for quite a while on those pads. I've taken a fair chunk out of this rotor. There's quite a lip, top and bottom now as well. In addition to that, so to get back out there for the last pass, mate had a set of, you know, racing pads for this car there, so I skipped one session doing a brake change and changed the pads over. I could have probably done it in the time for one session, but the rotor was still that hot that I was concerned about putting an ambient temperature rotor, a brake pad at 20 degrees up against the rotor, and having a hot cold shock incident and fracturing the rotor itself. So I waited a whole extra 40 minutes. At that point they were still a couple hundred degrees, the rotors, with the wheel off, for like 45 minutes with the wheel off in the pits. So yeah, she was the brake temperature was a thing. After that I bled through some much better brake fluid. Once again, mate had this on hand, just to squeeze out the boiled stuff. I don't know, I put like one reservoir worth of half a reservoir down each line, which was never going to fix it, but it was all I had time for. I did one lap of the car park to bed the brakes at QR, and then spent the first 3 laps bedding them on track and testing out the braking points with the different pads in it. And I still managed to run my fastest time of the day, with sort of only one flyer on those pads. I knew that they were dying, the brakes were dying, as I came into turn 6, on the final lap. They were a bit squidgy, so I knew I wasn't going to get another lap, and I didn't finish our session after the first session. I had to pull it 1 or 2 laps short every session because of brake failure. Well, not failure, but failure. They were the brakes were not able to stop me, so they had failed in their purpose. But it was sort of an analog curve. I could feel it a couple of corners before they'd get bad, so then I'd just ease off, pull out of the lap, and coast back to the pits. But on that one there, as I crossed over the line, just to finish the lap, I hadn't even conceived then putting in another lap. As I was going to come off then. It was going to be what it was. And I started braking at 20 meters over the start finish line on the main straight at QR, and the foot just went straight to the floor. The pedal was pretty much non-existent. So yeah, lucky I did that then, and just coasted all the way through into turn 1 and around there was a little bit of braking there was just a little bit at the bottom. Despite the fact the pedal went all the way to the floor, there was some retardation of the car through the brakes. However, what ended up happening, the scariest moment, was coming into turn 6. At 60 k's an hour probably, just going to get on the brakes as I came into turn 6 to the pit entry is midway through turn 6, the final corner, and there was nothing there, and I had to just stuff it into 3rd gear to use compression braking to slow the car down. Short of that though, I mean, that all sounds very dramatic and dangerous, and it is a little bit dangerous, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend making sure your brakes work, and work at decent temperatures before doing a track day. But the day in all was pretty good. I was reasonably happy. The car performed reasonably well considering it's very factory-ish. I'm running on these Pirelli tyres with a treadwear rating of 480, I think, from memory. They're quite hard. And I was able to obtain understeer and oversteer at will at any given time. Not that I was trying to get it, but driving at the limit at all times. Induced lots of understeer and oversteer. Much of it very, analog and docile. A couple of more snappy moments, but nothing very exciting. Obviously I've got footage of all that, and it's either been on already or is about to be on